Hello friends. I wouldn't mind asking you a simple but important question. What do you think love is? How do we understand what love is? What's it look like? How does it feel? The very first experiences of love for most of us usually come from our parents. Think of the way mothers hold their newborn children, the way dads lift the kids up on their shoulders and carry them around. These early experiences make a very deep impression on all of us. The tender warmth of love makes us feel safe and secure. Mums and dads are really important here because when we feel their love, we're going to find it easier to understand who God is, the Lord of love. Of course, none of us are perfect, mums and dads included, but their love is such a vital part of a real family. Pope Francis has said that ideal families don't just drop down from heaven. Love in a family is something that we've got to work on every moment of every day. Everyone has a role to play in making our families better. And even if we might be far away from them or somehow separated from them, we can always look for small ways, acts of kindness that can make our own families better. And if our own family isn't that close, we can generally find another family nearby that might need a helping hand. It's those little acts of kindness that can transform our families into living icons of love.
Despite all the social changes that have gone on in the past 50 or so years, research shows that it's still parents, mum and dad, are still the most influential people in the life of any single one of us. Sometimes what appears to be quite ordinary on the surface can turn out to be extraordinary. And being a parent is like that. The ordinariness of being a mum or being a dad gives us the extraordinary opportunity to form another human being. And while no families are perfect and no families are without their hardships, just like the Holy Family, they had an unplanned pregnancy, forced migration, attempted murder, all of these things in the first few months of their union. But even alongside those hardships, there was a long period of ordinariness. For 30 of his 33 years on earth, Jesus just lived in the ordinary everyday life of a family. And it's in those ordinary everyday things that really most of us find salvation. About 10 years ago, I was in a pub with my youngest brother. We're both dads with young children, and we were drinking for a while and talking about the things our dad did do and shouldn't have done. Then we spent some time talking about the things our dad should have done but didn't do. And at the end of it, my brother said, Matt, 20 years from now, our sons are going to be sitting here and they're going to be saying the same things about us.
We learned that every family is unique.
There's a saying in Chinese, each family has its own difficult story.
I don't think there is an ideal family because we're all different.
Our family is not an ideal family.
There's no magic formula. There are families who are struggling and who are trying their best to be good parents. Any parent would probably say that, to be honest with you, that we've got areas of improvement. I think that's what God's really asking us to do the very best that we can.
God gives different challenges to different families.
But the upside of not being perfect is that there's always scope for us to be better than we are. Tomorrow could always be better than today. We can do better. Pope Francis encourages us to see the difference between men and women not as a ground for opposition, but looking to see how we can build unity. Obviously there are differences between a man and a woman, he says, but we shouldn't see them as a battleground, or even worse, to pretend that the differences simply don't exist, because that's just ignoring reality. We just have to have some patience, take a little bit of time to see how those things fit together, like pieces in a jigsaw puzzle.
There's a certain warmth and a glow that I think Isabel brings as a mother to our family life that's distinct to what I would bring.
Daddy gives me a cuddle kiss. His kisses are slobby, like salivary. He doesn't give us slivey kisses.
And it's not that it's better than what I would bring or what I bring is better than what she brings. It's different.
For my fatherhood or my manhood to be mature really depends on Jenny a lot. Jenny gives me the motivation to try and to do better and to grow.
He's someone who's very confident. I guess what it brings out for me is the ability to more be myself.
It's not the differences that divide, but they rather unite us. That's where our strength lies.
You can't really say with an ideal family, the mum has to be like this, the father has to be like that.
But I think Our differences as me as a father and as a carer and as a protector is a natural instinct for me. And I think Isabel, as a mother, there's that tenderness, that calmness, there's that ability to neutralise situations. And although sometimes our roles may be reversed, sometimes I may be the calming person, Isabel may be more of a protecting mother. I think in general, we parent along those themes.
We need to accept the differences between men and women are biological, but they're deeply emotional and psychological as well. The American neuropsychiatrist Loanne Bresendine did a lot of research into the female brain and then also into the male brain. And she says there are more similarities than there are differences, but nonetheless those differences exist. They play out in a whole number of ways that she points to, but one of the key ones is the way we parent. Psychologist Steve Biddulph says that the roughhouse play that dads naturally tend to prefer plays a really important role. It's in that rough and tumble play that boys learn to exercise their strength and a degree of aggression without losing control. You know, you can imagine you're having to wrestle with your son. There's a hit below the belt. Well, the game's got to stop. They learn. You know, Dad says if you can't keep that under control, we have to stop that game. So it's a really important way for a boy to grow into a man, learning that he's got strength. He has to be able to exercise it, but there has to be limits on that. And that becomes really important later on, Biddulph points out, when he gets into a relationship, particularly an intimate relationship like a marriage, where you've got to be able to disagree in a respectful way without losing your cool. It's in that wrestling that he's doing a favour to his future daughter-in-law. She's then going to be able to challenge that man and he's going to be able to deal with that in a respectful way.
Ajesh is by far the soccer hero of the family. I definitely don't play soccer and I don't play footy and cricket. I think my type of activity would be like, looking at their drawings and their paintings and them explaining to me what it means.
I play with him a lot on the outside, in the outdoor. We hit the soccer ball, we play cricket, we go for bike rides. And with the girls, I don't do as much soccer and cricket, but I do a lot more bike riding with them.
Every time her chains fall off and then we have to stop. Daddy fixes it. He always fixes it very well.
I look forward to bike riding too.
I tend to do, quieter activities. At the beach, I tend to sit and relax and watch, and he will be, getting himself dirty with the sand, and I think he tends to be more active with them. He would, just tickle them.
Our dad tickles us.
Yeah, Dad loves tickling us when he has the chance.
Boys, I think, speak a language that girls don't really get immediately. But that, they can wrestle, they can fight, they can be, rough and tough and just walk away being mates. Whereas I feel when he does that with the girls, he ends up in tears.
And I'm usually the one crying, just letting everyone know that. So.
Dr. Loanne Bresendine says that some differences exist in the way mums and dads correct children. Because of the emotional attunement that a woman will generally have, she can tailor the way that she corrects to what's going on for a particular child at a particular time. It's important that a child has somebody who understands them and is able to modify the way they correct.
Meros would spend some time with them, talk to them and be very descriptive about what she's trying to say.
Isabel again brings that calmness, that soothing voice.
Whether they're tired or whether they've had a really hard day at school, and to kind of be in tune with that and go, okay, how much can I demand of them now?
But the real world isn't like mum. The real world is often a lot more harsh. So you need somebody like Dad who can be blunt and who can be direct. That's just preparing us for the reality of life.
When they need a bit more of a push and it doesn't work when it comes from me, Trent does a really good job.
I bring that sort of probably the brashness, that sort of straight talking dad.
For me, it's more like straight to the point, deal with it,
Sometimes Mum will be like, who did that? Why did you do that? She'll be asking questions first. Dad will be straightforward, angry.
He looks at things more objectively. I look at things more subjectively, but you really need both.
When he's talking about fatherhood, Pope Francis points to God the Father. In particular, he reminds us of the story of the prodigal son, which he says could equally be called the story of the merciful father. While God certainly is a God of justice, he holds on the other side mercy. He would always prefer to exercise mercy than justice.
I need to help them realise, how you react in certain situations. So for me to be really patient and loving and affectionate is going to teach them a lot more than me, cracking it all the time.
Not giving up's a really important facet to this, and the fact that the kids see us trying again.
That they see that, mum makes mistakes and dad makes mistakes, and that we say sorry, even, between ourselves, that we say sorry and that we keep trying.
Our spouse, our children, our brothers, our sisters, our uncle and our aunts can be the most difficult people to get along with. And sometimes it might be easier to run away to Africa or to China rather than live with the people that God has placed me with. That's where we need to follow, I think, Pope Francis's encouragement to say please, say thank you, say sorry, and to be patient with one another. And if we can do those things, then we're really going to make our families icons of love.
I hope that you might have a look at this little booklet our Archdiocese has produced, Living Icons. It has some encouraging words for mums and dads and some practical tips for ways all of us can make our family life better. Check out the videos too that are being produced and share them with your friends. Get them on Facebook and on Twitter and so on. Look for something you can do to make life just a little better for your family or just simply the family close by to you. It's those little acts of kindness that can transform our families into living icons of love. Sunday, the 7th of October, is Life, Marriage and Family Sunday here in our Archdiocese of Melbourne. This little booklet, Living Icons, will be available through all our parishes on that Sunday. So please get a copy, spread the word loudly and get it out there passionately.